Hey guys, all right, it says you're live. I love these things. So um I am here with Kayla, and I'm super excited. As you guys know, you guys asked questions last week, and if I don't know an answer, I'm gonna tell you I don't know an answer, and I'm gonna try and find somebody who can help you. So I went and found people to help you, which means I'm super excited. So I found Kayla is a good friend, and she's a registered dietitian. I will let her explain a little bit of what that means. But you guys asked questions. This is live. You can go to streamyard.com/Facebook and put your info in if you want to make comments. I did put that link in the description so you can find it there, and just go put your name in so we can kind of see. Otherwise, it says it won't post. So just go there, do that so it like accesses your Facebook or something or connects the two and okays it. So if you've got questions, feel free to ask. This is live. That is the point of this. But you guys did ask questions, so we'll make our way through those as well to the best of our abilities. Kayla just got off work, so thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so let's go with starting a little bit about you. You're our first guest speaker, by the way. I'm super excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about you and yeah.
Sure, yes. So I've been a registered dietitian for the last 5 years. I've done very many different things. I've worked in the hospital. I've worked for a couple community programs. And then as a runner myself, I've really got into more of sports nutrition and wanting to help people with sports nutrition, but also with plant-based eating, since I'm also plant-based myself and also very passionate about that. So now I help plant-based runners basically for my own practice, which is super exciting. And yeah, basically, I mean, that's what I do, but, really a dietitian, just to talk more about what they do and what they are, is they go to school for quite a long, not really long time, but kind of a longer time. So I went to school for, I think it's 5 years. So most dietitians, we have to at least have a bachelor's degree, and then have to have supervised practice hours before we can sit and take our board exam. So that is different. I do want to say that it's different than a nutritionist, because anyone else can really call themselves a nutritionist. They can learn about nutrition on the internet, take a nutritionist course, whatever that looks like, and call themselves a nutritionist. But a dietitian actually goes through that process of education and supervised practice hours. So there is a difference.
I knew there was. It'd be nice for people to learn as well, though. I just recently learning about all of the registered dietitians in a group that
Awesome.
we're in together.
Yeah.
So it's been really eye-opening for me, and I didn't know the difference, but I do know nutrition's not my expertise. So either way, I'm sending people to you guys. Cool. Thank you for that intro. Appreciate it. What is the name of your business?
Oh, it's called Plant-Based Performance Nutrition and Run Coaching.
Perfect. Awesome. So a lot of people here were rowers, as you know, but we've got a lot of beginners in the group, people of different ages, and different concerns, probably some plant-based, probably some not. So yeah, pretty big range of people in here. But yeah, I'll just jump in with the first question if you're ready.
Cool. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so we're going to start down the list. Again, if you guys want to ask questions, just ask. We'll add to the list. So Erica's first question was, how much protein is ideal for recovery after a workout?
Great question. So after a workout, protein is, I want to say, about 0.25 grams per kilogram. So it really depends on, I know that's like kind of not a very great answer, but it really does depend on your body weight, with figuring out even how much protein you need overall. But afterwards, it's kind of where you want to shoot for. So I think for me, just to give an example, I weigh about 120 pounds, and I try to get at least 14 grams of protein after post-workout for recovery.
Okay, so let's say someone's 200 pounds. How much should they? Roughly. 200. Or it'll depend on their body.
Yeah.
And the random numbers for people.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, here, let's see if I can do some quick math on the spot. So we got to divide by 2.2 to get kilograms. 0.25 is 23 grams. Kind of seems like a lot.
I'm impressed. I wasn't certain I'd get an answer from that. So good job with your on the spot calculations.
Yeah, I had my calculator right here. Nutrition involves a lot of math, so.
Okay, so basically figuring out how much you weigh, what your body type is, and then doing the calculation for it.
Yeah.
And it gives you a rough starting point.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, this is right up your alley. How does plant protein differ from animal protein, if at all, in building muscle?
Oh, yes, it is. In building muscle. So, I can't say there's really too much of a difference. It's more of the amount, I would say. So with animal protein, for like a smaller amount, say compared to like, 4-ounce chicken compared to, let's say 4-ounce tofu, is that chicken is going to have, and the 4 ounces is going to have a lot more protein than that tofu. So there's just a higher volume of food that you need to be eating when it's coming from plant-based sources to reach that amount of protein that you normally would. So it seems kind of like you can reach that protein, but why sometimes people, do struggle with it, is just because you have to have a higher volume of food, right? And especially plant-based proteins in order to get the same amount of protein you would from that animal protein.
Makes sense. So this is my own question. Can you give some examples of some plant-based protein that are good substitutes? Like, what are those top protein sources to go to?
Oh, yeah, sure. So soy products, I would say, would be tofu, seitan, and tempeh are kind of like the main staples I use a lot. But if you don't want to stay away from soy, there's also beans. Any kind of beans are great, as well as like seeds, like hemp seeds are also really high in protein.
So how much hemp seed, roughly? You don't need to know an exact calculation. Like, are we talking like a bowl of hemp seeds to get 1 gram of protein? Like, how much would I need?
How much for all of the protein you would need?
For like 1 gram of protein.
Oh, for 1 gram.
Or like 1 serving, like 5 grams.
Let's see. I want to say, the top of my head, I'm trying to picture what it says. I want to say like 1 tablespoon is like 10 grams. It's high.
That's way better than I thought.
Yeah, it's actually kind of high, but I could be wrong. I don't exactly.
We won't quote you.
Call me out.
I'm just like, I'm picturing a giant bowl of hemp seeds to get that. But it seems like it's really not that much. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Actually, they really are high, and it's not that much. So yeah, if you add it, add it to your smoothies, add it to yogurt, it's a great way to like up that protein.
After hemp seeds, is chia high in protein?
Chia?
Like chia seeds?
Yes, there is a little bit of protein. Yeah, not as high, I don't think, as hemp, but there's a little bit.
And then what about like flax seeds? I know a lot of people add those to their
smoothies. There's a little bit of protein in flax seeds too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious that I'm not good at this kind of thing, like what translates and what I have to look up. Oh, bananas have this. That's kind of where I am. So that's where those questions are coming from.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I still consider them to be fat sources, like fat exchanges, because they are more like omega-3s than rather protein, but there is a good amount of protein in there. So
awesome. Cool. All right. Erica's last question is, what are your favorite things to eat before and after a workout?
Ooh, yes. Before, I always try to have some carbohydrates and maybe fats or protein. So sometimes, let's see, for me, it's usually like a half of a bagel or Ezekiel bread and peanut butter or avocado. And then I would say afterwards, I always try to have carbs plus also protein is also, as you guys probably know protein is important as we talked about for recovery. So afterwards, I would say my go-tos are probably a smoothie, just because that's the easiest and I can get my carbohydrates and protein pretty easy that way. But I've also done even like I usually work out in the morning, but I have done like sweet potatoes and black beans because again, that's a good combination of carbs and protein. So that works as well.
Nice. Would you eat that so you work out in the morning? Would you eat that before a long run, a short run? Does it matter?
I guess it would be either. Yeah. Either short or long run.
So you wouldn't necessarily change it based on how long your run is.
Well, yes, if it's before, I would say. Okay. So before a run, if I know I'm going on like a longer run that's over an hour, that's when I definitely make sure I have something to eat. And I will say probably most of the time on my shorter runs, I might not take anything, but that's because, or eat anything before, but that is because I run so early in the morning. Sometimes it's 5:36 and I don't want to get up at 4 just to be able to eat something. But on the longer run days, I definitely make sure I get up like an hour, 2 hours before and have something to eat before I run.
Perfect. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So I just kind of threw in someone else's question in there. I don't remember whose it is, but I'll figure it out for you guys. Okay. Let's see. Annie is curious. She's also curious about protein, not specifically before or after workout, but how much is too much? I don't want to overload my kidneys. What would be an ideal amount for building muscle? I think those are kind of two different questions. So how much is too much? An ideal amount for building muscle?
Yeah, so no more than 2 grams per kilogram is what's recommended now. There has been more research around protein of what's too much because they have seen, right, some people have issues with their kidneys if there's too much. But right now, I know that's the recommendation is not to go over that 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. And then so no more than that. And then to build muscle, for my runners and for, I would say, really most athletes, I think, are in this category. Before runners, I usually say between 1.2 and 1.4 grams per kilogram. For any athlete, it's really 1.2 up to 2 grams. So per kilogram. So if you do want to build muscle, you might want to be closer to that 2 grams per kilogram.
Does it make a difference if you're doing that before or after? I know that wasn't her question, but I'm curious.
Well, so I would say with protein, you really want to eat protein consistently throughout the day. But of course, like right after is important to get that at least like 0.25 kilograms, or you can look at it as, what's another way to look at it that I've seen? A 3-to-1 ratio. So 3 grams of carbohydrates for 1 gram of protein. You can also look at it that way. So you want to make sure you get that protein right after you work out. But you do want to try to get, say you're trying to hit that 2 grams per kilogram body weight of protein, you want to try to eat that consistently throughout the day.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks. All right. Cassie, I think these are the questions you said before. Cassie is curious about nutrition, primarily about how much food is difficult to consume before running or rowing, how long to wait after eating before rowing. So I think we talked about the first one, but what about how long to wait after a workout?
How long to wait after? Okay, that's an interesting question. So eating afterwards. If you can eat a balanced meal, of course, in that hour after workout, that's good because you want to get that protein in as early as possible to help recovery for your muscles. So it's really important, I'll say in that hour, but it doesn't always have to be a balanced meal. So that's why I say like protein shakes. I always try to say like food first if you can, but protein shakes come into handy because say you're going to the gym and working out and you can't have a balanced meal right away. You could have that protein shake on the way home right after your workout, and that'll help that recovery for your muscles. So really within that 45 minutes to hour, you want to have even just a snack, and then maybe within like I would say at least 2 hours, have a balanced meal with carbs, protein, fats, all that stuff.
Perfect. I was just going to say that's why you see like people with their blender bottles just doing their protein shake right after they're trying to get it in that short time frame. So perfect. Her other part of her question is she says, I've been having a hard time with fatigue during my workout, but if I eat too much beforehand, then I feel bloated and I have a hard time giving my workout 100%. Everything I read online contradicts itself, and that's kind of what led to her question. So if somebody is struggling to eat beforehand, what would you recommend?
Yes, I hear this a lot, especially a lot of my runners. They're like, I don't eat before I run. And yeah, as I said, like as long as you're doing like, a short workout, less than 60 minutes, not anything too intense, it's okay. But I would say there's not anything really good. Well, yes. So anything that's really simple carbohydrates might help. So say like right before a workout, I had like a whole grain bread or bagel right before working out or running. And I didn't give very much time. Say that was within like half an hour. I would probably have some GI issues and problems because of the high fiber. So anything that's like really simple carbs, which kind of it really does go against the general healthy eating, right? We want to eat more whole grains all the time. But when you're right before a workout, you do want that to be like simple, quick carbohydrates that fuel your muscles. So that's like really some of your processed carbs, like white bread, which I know sounds kind of strange, but that can help. Do
you have other examples of simple?
Yeah. So let's see. Maybe potatoes are a good one. Regular potatoes.
Can you do sweet potatoes?
What else? Yep, sweet potatoes would be fine. I want to say they have more higher fiber, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know why I want to say that they do for some reason.
I know they're different because one's a nightshade and one isn't, but
yeah,
it's like
different nutrients. Yeah, the sweet potatoes have more vitamin A.
Gotcha. Okay, so trying to get something in if you can, maybe shifting with what you might be eating and trying to eat something different to see if that might help with some of the bloatedness that people are getting. Right. But if it's under an hour workout and you're feeling okay, you're not completely drained, it might be okay, but you can also just play with what's working with you and your body. Does that seem like summing up? Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Then Bonnie said, the pros and cons to fasting before a short to medium row. So similar to what we were just talking about. Several of the members on a group say that they fast. So she's been trying that with better success because she's also had this bloating. But she usually rows 6 to 7K or less, which is less than an hour. Trying to kind of put it in could be a little below 30 minutes, a little bit above 30 minutes, depending on the person. So I think what she's asking is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, if you're on, Bonnie, but basically before a row that's kind of middle, so 30-minute type of workout, pros and cons to not eating.
Okay, pros and cons. Let's see. Well, pros would be you wouldn't have any GI issues from food, which is good because I'm assuming if you're fasting, then you've had enough time to digest. A con would be a lack of energy. But because it is within that, hour, I would think that your meal that you had before, I guess depending on how long you fasted, would give you enough energy. So as long as that meal before is high in carbohydrates, you should have enough energy for that workout. But yeah, if you ever are feeling like a little bit tired or feel like, just feel like you can't get through that workout, then that could mean that you may want to try to eat something before.
It all comes back to everyone's body is different, y'all. My favorite thing to tell you for the rowing machine. So everyone's different. It seems it's about trying things that work for you and trying those different foods and the time frames and kind of what that is. And I know a lot of people also in those groups do intermittent fasting. So they're taking like 16 hours of not eating, and then they're eating 2 or 3 meals or 4 meals in a shorter period of time. So also when you're doing those workouts in that fasting period or at the beginning of it, the end of it, all of that's going to play into it. So just kind of keeping that in mind. That like I've said, groups are fantastic. Like I love you guys. You guys are amazing. But sometimes everybody wants to always give their opinion, and just always remember your body is your own. So just take it and take that information and use it, but also experiment for your body, because that's what's going to make you the best rower that you can be and the best feeling that you can feel, because we're all different. Does that sound about right? That's what I like to say.
Definitely. Yeah, it's tough. It's really experiment. Your body, I say all the time, is an science experiment, and the best thing to do is listen to your body and get to know your body and try things and experiment. Same thing with fueling during runs and workouts. It's kind of a trial and error thing and seeing what works for you.
Yeah. And I think the other big part is we get into our habits. So like I mentioned on my call the other day where I told you guys I was going to bring somebody in who knows more. I can work out and not eat, and I can row for more than an hour. Is it my PR? It probably isn't my PR, but I also don't feel 100% drained at it. But the way that I eat, I don't eat a lot of calories. Like I know it's bad. Don't get on me. I pretty much eat under 1,000 calories a day, which isn't good. I'm not saying it's a good thing, which is why I am not the nutrition person to listen to, y'all. But with that, I have to change my body's understanding of that. So now I'm starting to realize, oh, wow, I'm not eating a lot. I need to force myself to eat more. And that has its own other set of challenges because my body's not used to it. And I'm not hungry. Like I feel like I'm force feeding myself. So taking that into account, that then might make me feel more bloated on certain rows or make me feel different because I'm simply not used to it. So all of those things play into it. So experiment. Remember that just because you've done it doesn't mean it's right. It's okay to try new things and see what it is that does work for you. All right. Cassie had a question. I think this might be our last one. And then Ilaria had a quick question. So we have 2. So Cassie said, I've also read about and tried fasting beforehand. Man, we've got a lot of fasting people. All right.
Wow. I don't have a lot of runners that are fasters.
Really?
No.
What is it with rowing, y'all? Come on. All right. So she's tried fasting beforehand and also tried eating a small amount of high in carb foods, but they don't get me through my 30-minute row. I get fatigued at 15 to 20 minutes in and have to slow way down to finish. I was hoping fasting would help because I focus better while rowing if my stomach is empty.
Yeah.
So eating high in carb foods right before a row and struggling halfway through, and it's under an hour. Any suggestions?
Okay. So they are having carbohydrates before? Or they're fat?
No amount of high carb foods. We don't know what kind of carb food, but yes.
A lot of hard carb foods. Okay. So carbohydrates should help.
And it's okay if you don't know too.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
love say
I
I
don't
don't know?
know. I mean, really, that's what the guidelines say. If you're eating carbohydrates before a workout, you shouldn't be. You should be able to get through it, but maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's not the right type of carbohydrates. Maybe you need something during that workout, during that rowing. I know at least with running, especially like with marathon training and ultra running, right? Or running for a very long time. So fueling is definitely something that has to happen really during runs, or you just won't be able to keep going. So it could be that too. Maybe trying something during the run or during the row.
Or different types of carbs, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So playing with the types of carbs you're eating and fueling during. And also for me, I see that, and I mean, our bodies are so complicated. There's so much that could be going on. So it's possible that something else might be contributing besides food as well. So that's something to possibly look into. But again, not an expert on that. But I am an expert on our bodies are freaking complicated. And what we think should be an easy answer is often not an easy answer, y'all. It took me 2 years to get my celiac diagnosis, and it was a roller coaster. So just figuring this stuff out is only like a quarter of the challenge that it is. Cool. All right. So Ilaria had a question.
Yes.
And let's see. She said, if it's TMI, I don't believe in TMI, y'all. I believe we need to talk about this stuff, and people don't, so we're going to. So I would say for you, take it in as if you're running. So how can a female structure their training session by taking various phases of the menstrual cycle into consideration? For instance, I'd better, and I don't think Ilaria's first language is English, just FYI. So I think I'm not entirely sure on the sentence. That's why I said this. No offense. I love you, Ilaria. So for instance, I'd better not do sprints before or during my period because I get cramps if I go too fast. This used to happen with running as well. So cramping if do too fast, if during or before menstrual cycle, I think is what it is. Does that sound right? And if you don't know, that's okay. We also have Jessica Drummond coming in, so she'll be a great person for this question as well.
Oh, good. Yes. No, I don't actually know a lot on that with sports nutrition and women's health. It's definitely very interesting, but I don't know a lot about it. Who else is an expert though? Oh, Stacy, what's her name? Stacy Sims. She wrote a book. I do know she talks about that in her book.
I think awesome. I'll reach out to her.
So that's a good resource as well.
No worries. I didn't want you to feel like I was ignoring you, Ilaria. So I asked your question. Jessica will definitely be able to answer that question. And I'm still working on the date to get her in this group. But she is a women's health and nutrition person, expert who like full on will know the answer to that. But this has been really helpful. Is there anything else that you would want to share with my fellow rowers?
Ooh,
some advice.
Yeah.
Or common questions you get that you want to share that we didn't ask.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, as we said before, I think is a really good point to make sure to listen to your body and understand as well that you may need more food based on your training. So that can, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can simply be, okay, I know I did a longer row over an hour this day, so I need to have an extra serving of carbs and protein. Right. So it doesn't have to be, super complicated. I do have plates that there are the Olympic Committee plates, which are helpful, to see how your meals should vary based on your trainings. So those are helpful. I also have plates specifically.
I have never heard of that. That's awesome.
So yeah,
like
yeah, there's like easy, moderate, I think hard. So say you're doing, an easy workout, medium workout, hard workout. So kind of
That's
show you
pretty
the
cool.
difference between your plates. So how much more, certain portions of things to have more of.
Mhm.
So that's also important to remember, think about, especially if you want to get through that workout, and also if you want to work on performance is important too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If people have questions or want to get in touch with you for nutritional help, how can they contact you?
Sure. Yeah. So email is always good. My email is KaylaSlaterRD@gmail. I do have a website, is plantbasedperformancenutrition.com. And then I also have, I also am on Facebook and Instagram. So you can find me those places as well.
And I think you gave me those 2 contacts. So I've got it that in a post where I asked you guys if you had questions. So it should be there, but I will go ahead and take that and put that into the description for this video as well for you guys. If you have questions or want help, here's a great resource who works with athletes and can help you out. I think that's it. I tried to go on Facebook. Sorry, that's why I was looking down. I don't even see our live, but it says people are popping in. So
Oh no.
I don't know, but I was trying to see if you guys had questions. It's not popping up on my phone, so I don't see. Oh, there it is. Hi, there we are. I don't see any questions on there, so I will let you go. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. It was an honor to have you on here. And thanks for being quick and getting in here quickly. It's amazing.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. And if there's anything we can do for you or I can do for you, please let me know. But yeah, I think that's it. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.